Good morning, everyone. We'll call to order the meeting of the Lancaster Criminal Justice Commission. We will start with roll call.
Commissioners Brown.
Present.
Harris.
Present.
Herr.
Present.
McCracken, absent. Paris, absent. Vice Chair Little, absent. Chairman Mercy.
Present.
We have a quorum.
Okay, thank you. We'll go ahead into Pledge of Allegiance, which will be led by Anna Zarley with Assembly Member Lackey's office.
Please place your hand over your heart. Ready? Begin. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, moving forward to the consent calendar, just consists, presentations. We have a presentation from the Lancaster Police Department.
Good morning, Chair and Commissioners. My name is Christy Malta. I'm with the Lancaster Police Department. I am the manager of our CORE division. CORE is Community Outreach, Resource, and Education. It's been close to a year since we were here last to talk to you all, so I just want to give you a little update on what we've got going on. Right now, one of the biggest things that we're focused on is our homelessness issues in the city. We are in the process of updating our homelessness plan, which is required for the Measure H funds that we were receiving from the county. So we are in the process of doing public outreach and surveys. So there's some surveys in the back. We've got 5 different surveys that we're looking at to get some different information. We're not asking the standard questions of, do you think homelessness is a problem? Because we already know the answer to that. So we want to know how people, the public in general, is engaging with homeless. Are they experiencing them frequently? Are they giving them money? Are they dropping off food? And what would they like to see as solutions to some of the problems and challenges that we're facing? We're also going to roll out a survey to our city employees to talk about how they're encountering our homeless population. Do they have adequate training and resources to refer people to the different services that are here in the Antelope Valley? We're also working with our service providers to identify gaps in funding and resources, and where there are service gaps between where we get somebody help to a certain point and then there's nobody to take over from there. So we're looking at those types of things where we can utilize the funding to the best of our ability here in the city and get those services out and start to resolve some of the issues that we're facing. We're also going to be doing homeless interviews to understand what the barriers are with our homeless population to getting them off the streets. We have had some great success recently with our homeless outreach team. So we have our cost team that are usually responsible for taking care of our encampment cleanups. They're starting to build great rapport with our population out here. And when they have people that are ready or close to ready to accept services, we've got an outreach from my team that's going out. We've got great relationships now with the VOA shelter, with Kensington campus, and we're getting direct placements in a quick manner. One of the challenges that we often face is with the bureaucracy of all the different systems that they have to go through. If somebody says yes today, it may take a couple days for them to get placement, and then we may lose them because they change their minds or we can't find them. Because our population is transient, they move to different areas in the city, and this is one of the ways that we're combating that. So that's one of the great areas that we're making process. We're starting to see about 2 to 3 placements per week, which is incredible success. We're also reaching to some of our most vulnerable population with people who have severe medical, mental health, or substance use issues. We're getting them the help that they need. We have talked a lot about the sales tax increases. As you all know, we had Measure H was repealed. It was a 1/4 cent sales tax. Measure A now a 1/2 cent sales tax. We have local solution funds still coming from Measure A. So we've got programs that will be operating from the Measure H remaining funds and new Measure A funds that we're looking to program and continue on with some of the things that we're doing. But we're also looking for, from our homeless plan update, we're looking at other solutions that we can find here to continue to resolve the issues. We will be rolling out a community mini grant application shortly for those organizations that are doing great work here, but they're not the big organizations that are going to be capable of doing hundreds of thousands of dollars worth of contracts, but they can do a little bit. So one of the things that we've started talking about here is we can't get everybody all at once, but we can get one person. If we get 1 or 2 people per day, we're making progress, and that's what we're looking at. And there's a lot of organizations that are doing those types of things, so we want to support them. Our homeless outreach, we're also looking at a first responder coordination. One of the things that we learned recently with a severe case that we took out is there's just some silos that are out there. We're looking at breaking those down. One of the things that we're looking at is between sheriff, LPD, fire, CHP, is looking at our high utilization citizens, finding out those ways that we can start to connect and get services, because sheriff may come in contact with them, a couple days later fire may come in contact, we may come in contact, but without all of us having a way to know that we're touching them, we're not knowing how we can get resources to those people to resolve those issues. So we're going to start working on a solution, some kind of database where when we all have contact, we can put it in there, and ultimately we can see, okay, these are the people that we're seeing, this is where their last location was, let's go out there, get some outreach and get some direct services to them. So I think that that's going to make a big impact. As you know, we've been the last 2 years working on the CHP DUI grant. We've applied now for 2 grants with the CHP, the education grant, which we go out to the schools and different community events to educate people on driving under the influence of alcohol and cannabis and other drugs. We've applied for both the education grant and the law enforcement grant this year. We're waiting on response from that. With the enforcement, we're looking at increasing DUI checkpoints and patrol saturations throughout the Antelope Valley and Lancaster specifically to combat those types of problems. Lastly, we were here last time to talk about the faith-based component of what we're doing. We did a community vigil in July. We did the Faith in Blue outreach in October, which we will do again this October, and we're starting the planning stages of that. But one of the great things that we did recently is what we're calling Project WOW, and that's walk, outreach, and witness. We touched on a couple of high crime areas, Avenue I and 10th Street West, Sierra Highway and Avenue L8, and Challenger and Avenue K. We went out there with our faith-based groups, got some volunteers, and along with our LPD, we went out, contacted the community, and prayed for the community. We talked to people, engaged people in a manner that they're not typically experiencing law enforcement. So our chief was out there, our assistant chief, members from my team, some of our officers were out there. We had service providers out there so that if there were people that needed some kind of service, they were available to get direct service and connections at the same time. So we're making progress in that regard, and we're really working on our community-led policing and finding out what our community needs, what they'd like to see from us, and how we can provide services to resolve some of the issues before they become criminal issues. So that is all I have for you today. Are there any questions? Yes.
The funding we're receiving from the Measure A, there is any restrictions?
There are restrictions. So the funding is, there's 3 categories of funding. The first group of funding is pretty much unrestricted as far as it has to engage people that are experiencing homelessness. So it's interim housing, permanent housing, the different types of services that they need to connect to housing navigation. Then the second group is where we have to find a partner who's receiving other types of funding and kind of braid services together. So where their funding may end, we can come in with the Measure A and utilize funding. And that's geared towards mental health, substance use. Mm-hmm. Those are the 2 areas that they're really touching with that, the types of crisis situations that we're seeing. And then the last one is braided funds with La Casa, which La Casa is a new organization that the county has created to look at the affordable housing component of things and to start building long-term affordable housing in LA County. So part of Measure A, there's about 35.6% that is dedicated to building affordable housing that the county will run. And so we would have to partner with them. The difficult part about that right now is La Casa is just getting operational. They just created their board. They're getting their bylaws in place. They're searching for their CFO. So we don't know what that looks like for the Antelope Valley at this time. So right now we're going to focus on the least restrictive funds and how we're going to program that. So that'll be a carryover of a lot of the things we're doing with Measure H, and then looking at a few new resources.
Do we have a representative that's going to be on that board by any chance?
So on La Casa, the current only North County representative is the mayor of Santa Clarita. I'm going to do some research and find out what that is looking like and how we can get more involved here directly in the Antelope Valley. The supervisor for 5th District is sitting on the board, so we have her representation as well.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You spoke about, when you reach out and doing the homeless outreach. Of the interactions you have with folks to see if they're ready to accept services, about what % are ready?
You know, I couldn't give you a rough percent, but we are seeing an increase on people wanting to take services. But as far as a rough percent, I would have to get back to you on that.
Okay.
So,
And are we still limited on compulsory assistance by state law?
I don't know what you mean by that. I apologize.
Well, we know there are folks out there that need help, but they
Right.
refuse it
Right.
and cause problems. What is the legal state right now of our ability to say, whether you're ready or not, you're coming and getting services?
I believe I may defer to Chris on that because he's got a better.
That's unchanged.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Nothing has changed as far as I know on that scope. We can't force people into programs.
Right.
Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, moving ahead to consent calendar, which is approval of the minutes. Is there any objection to adopting the consent calendar as presented? Hearing none, the consent calendar is adopted. Commission staff presentations, updates, and reports. We'll start with LA County Sheriff's.
Good morning. I'm Sergeant Almanza, Community Relations Sergeant at Lancaster Sheriff's Department. I'm here to go over the updates. Year to date, January, February, for a criminal homicide, we've had 3, which is an increase about 50%. Last year at this time, we had 2. For forcible rape, year to date is 20. That is a 300% increase from last year at this time, which was 5. And because of such low numbers, that's why you get the huge increase. As of February, 8 have been reported, and 3 of those were actually pre-2025. So those rapes occurred prior to this year. For robbery, we have 44. Which is an increase of 8.33, or a decrease of 8.33%. Aggravated assault, 137, a decrease of 5.52%. Burglary is 98, which is also a decrease of 16.24%. Larceny theft is 180 incidents, a decrease of 29.96%. For grand theft, we're at 253, which is an increase nor decrease. It's 0% change. We had exactly the same amount last year. Arson, we're at 7 incidents, which is an increase of 75%. We had only 4 at this time last year. Part 1 crimes total is 742, which is a overall decrease of 10.71%.
And what do you attribute to the decreases we're seeing?
Overall, it is just, I think the way crime is being faced through the DA's office, and we're able to go out there and actually file, and, or cases are being filed on. A lot of new laws have changed where, you're seeing people actually do time for these crimes. So, and that's, getting spread, hopefully, out there.
Yeah, I think some of it comes down to the prosecution aspect of the accountability with the district attorney's office.
Right.
Some of it is our enforcement efforts and patrol. The reductions in robberies are a lot attributed to the LANCAP team and those efforts. They're out there doing night operations, moving their hours around to really combat the robberies. And I think you see a remarkable decrease in robberies. It's 8.3%. When you look at armed robberies, those are down specifically about 29% in the city of Lancaster. So.
That's great.
Good to see.
Well, are more arrestees being held rather than immediately released? Because I know some of the bail changes were state and some were DA policy. So is there a real effect
We
on that?
have seen a slight increase in specifically some of the arrests on behalf of Prop 36, where that they're still in custody where they would have been released in the past. We are seeing that effect now. that it's mandatory that they be held to see the magistrate. So,
Can't commit more crimes if you're inside. Novel concept. Thank you.
Yeah, and I do want to point that I know larceny theft, specifically to retail theft, is down in the city of Lancaster. And that's, I think, about, if you break it down, somewhere around 8% just in, 8 to 9% just in retail theft. So there is a decrease in that from last year. So, and that, again, is in the cooperation we're doing with the Retail Theft Task Force operations that also Landcap is doing specifically with them to combat it. I think one of the specific trends that we saw in an analysis, that one location specifically in Lancaster in the month of February attributed to 43% of the retail theft.
Wow.
And that's a shoe store. I don't want to say their name. On Avenue K.
Okay, well, thank you so much, and thank you to all the deputies that we know are working very hard on our behalf. Okay, next up, California Highway Patrol.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Just ahead of our update, I just wanted to take this opportunity to introduce myself. My name is James Richards. I'm the new captain of the Antelope Valley Area Office. Captain Zagorski has now promoted to assistant chief and is now in Southern Division. So I've been here 2.5 days now. I've got 26 years on the department. I've got 4.5 years of command experience. My last command was in Crescent City, about 14 hours northwest of here. So it's quite a difference in atmosphere, but I'm looking forward to this. I've got friends and family that live within an hour and a half of here in any direction.
Okay.
So I'm here to stay. I'm looking for a place to purchase or rent in Lancaster, and I'm here to the end of my career. So I just wanted to take that
Wonderful.
opportunity to introduce myself.
We don't get as much rain as up there.
No, you do not. I was there for 120 days. In the last 120 days, I think 110 days it rained. So yeah, it's quite a difference. So with that, I'll bring up my public information officer, Jordan. And
Great.
come on
Well,
up.
welcome.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Welcome, Captain.
Thank you.
Good morning. Officer Jordan Church, CHP Antelope Valley's Public Information Officer. Thank you for the opportunity to allow me to update you on what CHP Antelope Valley has got going on. An additional personnel update, I believe you guys had met Lieutenant Armando Casas, who has since retired at the end of last year. We do have a new Lieutenant, Timothy Jacobson, who is not here today, but I'm sure you will be meeting him soon. So we have a new command at CHP Antelope Valley, and it's not going to change anything. We're going to keep rolling, keep doing what we do, and just wanted you guys to know you're going to see some new faces here in the Antelope Valley. So I do have some updates on our year-to-date for CHP Antelope Valley. This time, Q1 last year compared to this year, our citations issued could be for any violation of the vehicle or penal code. Those tickets are up 28%. Distracted driver violations, same year-to-date, Q1 is up 31%. This also comes in lieu of the fact that April is Distracted Driver Awareness Month, and that's decided by NHTSA, the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. So you can expect those numbers to continue rising, especially through the month of April. Enforcement contacts as a whole are up 25%, and arrests Q1 year-to-date are up 34%. So overall, we're seeing a significant increase in proactive enforcement for CHP Antelope Valley, and that has a lot to do with the recruitment the department as a whole is doing. So for the first time in CHP history, we have 3 classes of about 150 people, cadets, training at our academy up in Sacramento at any given time. So up until this past year, it was always 2, so it was about 300 cadets training at one time, and we're now nearly at 500. So the recruitment efforts by the department, and as well as, recruiters throughout the state, we have seen a good uptick. We're getting new officers through the academy in as little, or to the academy in as little as under 6 months, where guys like myself and probably, you know, my sergeant and captain in the room, our process took about 1.5 years. So we've shortened the process, the background process. We've made it more efficient. We have more officers in the academy at any given time, and we're actually increasing our staffing levels in the field. And that's why you can hope to see that trend continue as far as proactive enforcement in, you know, furthering our goal of keeping our community safe. The last update I have is I'm not entirely sure if you folks have seen it, but a lot of Lancaster residents have, but the issue with mini bikes, the increase of mini bike activity, illegal activity typically here, not only in Lancaster, but the greater Antelope Valley. So at CHP Antelope Valley, we have our filing officers who work very closely with district attorneys in LA County have essentially come to the conclusion that these mini bikes are in fact motor vehicles. So they meet the definition of a motor vehicle, and that frees up our hands as far as the enforcement we can take against them. We can actually treat them obviously as a vehicle, so we can treat the rider as an unlicensed driver. We can treat the vehicle as a towable vehicle as opposed to you know, some home-built doohickey that they were before. They now actually have a standard definition that meets that motor vehicle, and it does allow us to take, again, more of a proactive approach to keeping these people off the road and keeping them from committing crimes. So that reclassification allows us to continue doing what we're doing. Again, our staffing and everything continues to increase, and we hope that trend continues so we can continue to serve the Antelope Valley in a good way. Do you have any questions for me?
Yes. How many officers do you have in a Lancaster station, and are all positions filled? Yeah,
so we are allotted approximately 50 officers for the CHP Antelope Valley station. It usually it fluctuates between fully staffed to just under fully staffed, given a transfer or maybe an injury. So we don't increase our numbers when someone goes out on injury or transfers out. We kind of just have to wait for either a new transfer in or a cadet to graduate from the academy and get assigned to our station. So we hang around 50 officers. And that doesn't necessarily mean that is how many officers are out on the road. Again, there are different special duties that officers are assigned. For instance, I'm the public information officer, so I'm not out on the road every single day. I do all these other, I have all these other responsibilities, right? But assigned officers, uniform officers to our station is usually about 50.
Thank you.
Yes. Thank you.
I'm just sort of curious.
Yes, sir.
If you put your science fiction hat on for the moment, there are a lot of innovations coming out in vehicles that you used the phrase distracted driver or inattentive driver, and I'm thinking that the industry is doing things to try and compensate for the inattention of the drivers and provide safety features to the car. What do you see happening, and where is that going, and how fast?
Well, first, I'd like to say science fiction hat is my favorite hat, so thank you for allowing me to put that on. But so as far as enforcement goes, we don't have anything at our, anything extended to us as far as, being able to do anything outside of, hey, we're driving next to a vehicle and they're texting away or have their phone up to their ear, whatever it might be. I do know there are certain apps that, for instance, parents are using now. There's an app called Life 360 that actually it could be considered. I tell some of the kids I teach in my Start Smart classes, yeah, it's a little helicopter parent, right? They're kind of hovering above you at all times, but it's important. It's for your safety. Life 360, it tells them how fast they're driving. It tells them where the child has been. It maps their location. I think it goes as far as to tell, hey, you can turn off their, the ability to use this app or that app at any given time. So that's different stuff. Obviously, outside companies are putting into place to keep our children safe. But as far as adults, there's no new technology. We're out looking, obviously, to reduce those numbers because distracted driving is an issue and it's a reason why people crash, especially here in the Antelope Valley. But it really boils down to us just being out there, being proactive and looking for those things, especially like during the month of April, which is a higher focus on things like distracted driving.
Are you aware of devices that car companies are trying to develop that will compensate for the fact that the driver is not paying attention and alert them to problems that are coming up, or try and keep them on path, or keep them from riding the red light?
I mean, outside of what we all know, I mean, the self-driving stuff that's coming out, there are new technologies. I just bought my family a van, a Kia, that if you leave the lane for any given minute, it'll beep at you, it'll tell you put your hands on the steering wheel, and then it'll actually correct it in. So I don't know if that's making it easier for people to drive distracted, perhaps, but there are definitely new technologies that are coming out to keep vehicles on a safer path, to alert a driver when perhaps they're feeling drowsy or maybe just not even paying attention, kind of leaving the lane they're supposed to be in. Nothing has become, again, available to us as law enforcement to kind of further our duties of stopping that stuff. But I'm sure as car companies realize this is an issue, they'll come out with new technologies that'll hopefully help us all out.
This might be a good topic to ask Assemblyman Lackey's office to speak to at a later meeting, because he's been, as a retired CHP, but now as a policymaker, I know he's worked on some of the policies dealing with self-driving and how that's going to affect traffic. So.
Yeah.
I always enjoy coming and learning about what's going on in the community and what kind of arrests are, what the trends are, and so on. But I haven't asked what would be helpful for us to do for you.
I mean, the continued support of the community always helps. I mean, we work very closely with the Sheriff Department. We're forming a very great relationship with Lancaster PD. And, you know, the talks that we have here with you, they help greatly. You know, if we're dealing with something and a sheriff representative comes up and kind of helps us pinpoint an additional issue or helps us solve an issue we're going through, I think just the continued collaboration between obviously law enforcement, but the city and at large, just greatly helps us further our mission. Helps us, you know, figure out what the issues are, what the trends are. I mean, for instance, this mini bike thing. I know LASD has dealt with it, and you know, just getting us in a room and allowing us to have these conversations with, you know, our partners out there really helps us out. So I would say the continued, you know, the furtherance of all of what we're already doing is you know, just what is going to continue to help us.
Good, thank you. And I was going to ask the Sheriff's Department, but they were too quick. For the same question, in other words, if there's things that come to mind that we might be of some help, let us know. We want to help out, and I think there's this movement on the part of this group to take a more active role and see if we can actively help.
Great. Thank you very much for that.
And I'll just add that, yeah, the big thing is the collaboration between all of us. I mean, we definitely, you know, I know I text Captain Zagorski, you know, last month regarding the fatality that we had in Lancaster with the mini bike rider over by Lancaster High School. And really their support was instrumental in helping us quell kind of the issues that we had days after, because the mini bikers were coming back kind of to at the same location to honor their fallen rider. And we're kind of, you know, very disruptive at the intersection there and causing problems. So really that direct communication that we had of working with each other, CHP and LASD working together to combat that issue. And I know there was one probably several weeks prior that occurred technically in Palmdale's area, where a mini bike rider was also killed in a collision off at 20th East and about Avenue LA. So that has been an issue in our community, and definitely that direct communication and collaboration between both of us is instrumental in, you know, getting out there and enforcing those laws. So thank you.
Thank you. Any other questions?
Thank you.
Thank you.
Well, I just would add, I don't know, are you new to the area as well, or were you stationed out here?
No, sir. So I began my career in West Los Angeles, did 3 years there, and then the last 4 have been up here. been public information officer, served that for the past year. So,
Okay.
yeah.
Wonderful. Well, so I hope you knew this, but for you coming to the community, we're a community that supports law enforcement, not just us here, but even when it was not fashionable, you know, the rest of the world can go crazy, but we know and appreciate everything you do. So I think Commissioner Brown and what he said, if there's anything we can do to help, we want to.
Great. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And just real quick, regarding the automation of the vehicles, so the CHP's stance on this right now is we're in the collection data. So we actually changed the way that we do our crash reports, where we actually have a box of what type of level the automation was on the vehicle and what if it was being used during the time of the collision. So we're actually collecting that data. The laws are the laws. So the distracted driving, regardless if you're at a Tesla full self-driving, you cannot be on a cell phone. And we do have some tests and some trials that are going on in other areas. I'm sure you've seen in the news where the driverless taxis are going on in city of Los Angeles and also in San Francisco area. We don't have that in our area at this point right now, but it's something that CHP is collecting data on and getting guidance through the Office of Special Reps, where we're talking about different laws and different ways that we can deal with that issue as it becomes. I mean, you see it on the news occasionally where a driverless car is going crazy and stuff like that, and that's the things that CHP is very integrated in with the legislation to make sure that we're addressing it appropriately. But every single crash that CHP has does have that box that's checked by the officer to see what type of automation. And if any time people are saying they were in self-driving, the car went crazy and it crashed, we're investigating that thoroughly with our mate department as well. So that's CHP's kind of position right now. And if you had any other questions as far as that goes.
Thank you for that update.
Yeah, no problem.
On the automation on those, do they have like essentially a black box that can tell you so that somebody can't just say, oh yeah, the self-driving did it, but.
Yes, so we actually do that with a lot of our fatal accidents. It's, we do a search warrant, we pull the black box or the control module from the vehicle, we actually download it to show if it was in automation and what inputs and outputs and any kind of accelerations that happened to the car prior to the traffic collision. So we download those for most of our fatal traffic collisions as part of the evidence to find out exactly what happened in that traffic crash.
Thank you.
No problem.
It's my hunch, maybe my wish, that that the more automated the cars become and the less responsibility the drivers have, the safer the roads will be. These systems are probably much more reliable than the drivers. So to the degree we can move in the direction of taking some of the required attention away from the drivers and allocating it to machines that are not going to be distracted and not going to be talking on the phone, maybe that's a good direction.
Yeah, and I agree with you. I'm pro technology as far as this comes personally. I do believe that a lot of the technologies are really amazing that's happening right now. We're not all the way there yet. Even the self-driving, the full self-driving, it's in the test phase. And CHP has been very involved with legislation to make sure that this is being done in trials and that data is being collected. So until we get to that point, we're still going to be strongly enforcing the distracted driving laws because we do see that it is a major factor with traffic collisions. And the Highway Patrol sees it that way, which is why on April 1st, we did a maximum enforcement period where every single CHP office in the entire state sent out every single unit available to go and attack distracted driving to kick off Distracted Driving Month. So it is important, whether it's somebody on their cell phone, whether it's somebody watching a movie on their phone, or whether it's somebody reading a newspaper while they were driving, we were out there enforcing those laws to make sure that people are paying attention.
Is there an effort on the part of the Highway Patrol at this point to, if people have help available in the technology in their car and they're choosing not to use it, is that something we should be looking at negatively?
It's hard to know what somebody was using or not inside their vehicle and what, and what's even available in the cars. I think a lot of the cars come automatic now if they're newer for that lane assist or those alarms that go off. I know my wife's car will all of a sudden do all sorts of crazy stuff every time I'm driving it. You weave over even a little bit or you go to turn out and there's a car coming, it starts beeping and freaking out at you. So I think a lot of the vehicles come automatic with a lot of those systems. CHP, we don't have an educational campaign right now regarding teaching people how to use those safety features in their vehicles. And as they become more and more, that probably could be a possibility for us. But as of right now, the technology is still new. We're really in that data collection stage right now.
Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Great, thank you. Lancaster PD.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Just some quick staff updates. Our dispatchers are past backgrounds, so they're going through the last little final pieces to be hired on and brought in. Our motor officers are in second round interviews right now, and our sergeants' first round interviews kick off this week. So we should be seeing them coming through hopefully
Great.
pretty soon.
Okay, how many sworn personnel are we up to?
Right now we have 8. We will have 17.
Oh, great. Any questions? Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Elected office update. As we've got Senator Wilkes, or Senator Valladares' office.
Good morning, everyone. Thomas Marino from the Office of Senator Valladares. Used to be Senator Wilkes, so I can see why Chairman Mercy got that a little confused today. Anyways, great to work for 2 great members doing that. So I just have a quick update on SB 421, which is Kaylee's Law. This one would have required the courts to allow victims of sexual violence or any kind of crime that would have placed their perpetrator on the sexual registry. That has now failed in committee, unfortunately. We are hoping, it was granted reconsideration, and we are hoping that come the next committee for public safety that it gets passed. It was failed on a 3-2 margin, strictly party lines. Then we have AB 1333, which is the bill, the stand your ground bill that would have made it so that way it's very hard for people to, or it's easier for people that were going to be, it specifies circumstances in which homicide is not justifiable when a person was outside of their home and did not retreat when they could have done safely. This bill is still being waiting for a vote in committee. And then a quick update on SB 380, which is Jones's bill regarding the sexually violent predators, which is important for our communities in the South, especially with the sexually violent predator up in Juniper Hills. This bill would allow the State Department of State Hospitals to conduct an analysis of benefits and feasibility when establishing transitional housing. This has now passed the committee and is now going to be held in suspense in appropriations. So we're hoping that will get passed because that is a bill that would be beneficial for all of California, especially when it comes to sexually violent predators. Especially in our area, we've had 3 dropped in the Antelope Valley, which is more than anyone else in all of LA County. So we're hoping that will pass. That was Senator Jones's bill, SB 380. Any questions on those?
What was the one that was? What was the one that was passed along party lines? I missed the.
So it failed along party lines for a 3-2 margin. That was Kaylee's Law, SB 421, which would make us that way. Anyone who committed a sexually violent act is on the, their victim can get a restrainment order going on lifetime instead of just the couple months or couple years that it is.
This probably more reflects my naivete than reality, but why would a subject like that, which has broad appeal, divide itself along party lines?
We have that question as well. But unfortunately it was put up for reconsideration, so hopefully we'll get an amendment in there that will satisfy everyone, so that way it could pass unanimously through public safety. Any other questions? Great, thank you guys.
Okay. Next up, public business from the floor, non-agendized items. Oh, excuse me. I'm sorry, Anna. Sorry, Anna Zarley with Assemblymember Lackey's office. Sorry about that.
Thank you. I don't have much to say, but I do like to be acknowledged every once in a
Absolutely, no,
while.
we appreciate you being here.
Thank you for having me today. And I want to let you know, Officer Church, that my kids have me on 360. My grandkids have me on 360, so they want to know where I'm at all the time. And it works. So if I'm out late, they text me, "What are you doing out so late?" So yeah, they know where I'm at. Yeah. But I just wanted to give you a quick update on AB 568, which was passed out of public safety and is now headed to appropriations, which is, this 568 will make it a serious felony to those who furnish fentanyl to minors. So that was a really good one for us, a good catch. I do want to say on AB 1333, if I remember correctly, that one was pulled because they were getting a lot of feedback on that one. Because that one was, so if I'm sleeping in my house and somebody comes into my house and breaks into my house, now I have to go to the court and say, well, I was in fear of my life, and I have to prove that I was in fear of my life. So they were trying to take that away from us. But that one was pulled, if I remember correctly. So that's a good one also. The other one was amended and sent to public safety, which is AB 653, which was the child abuse mandated reporters and how they get back their money when they report different incidents. So that one is moving forward to public safety. But those are the main ones that I wanted to make sure that we brought up to you today, moving forward. And you know, when people vote on party lines, it's just, Assemblyman Lackey is in public safety, and he tries his best. He lets his voice be heard. But when you have only 2 of them voting against a bill and you have 7 more people that have voted for it, it's kind of hard, but he wants to make sure that everybody knows that we are here for the community, and he does support law enforcement as he was a CHP officer. So, any questions? We're good?
Okay, thank you very much. We appreciate you being
Thanks.
here. Okay, now moving on, public business from the floor, non-agendized items.
This is the time to address the Lancaster Criminal Justice Commission on non-agendized matters. Speaker cards can be found on the back table of the council chambers. Individual speakers are limited to 3 minutes each unless a different time limit is announced. State law prohibits the commission from taking action on items not listed on the agenda. Thank you.
Great, thank you. We have one speaker card today, David Paul. Welcome again.
Chair Mercy and Commissioners, good morning. I have to start by saying I like what I heard from the CHP. Eyes on the problem. I'm thinking about those mini bikes that goes by, and I'm trying to talk fast because I respect your time. I bought a new car after 30 years, and the safety features are incredible. I'm backing out of my driveway, and the thing starts beeping. I couldn't see. It's a car and then a FedEx truck. So it tells me when I'm out of the lane, and if I get a phone call, my phone is tied to the car, and I just push a button on a dash, and I can watch the road and hear who I'm talking to all at the same time. So that is incredible. But those mini bikes, they become a problem, and it's too bad we can't have just a truck go by and throw them in the back and take them somewhere and dump them. And I don't know what the recourse is for people to complain, or there's always things. Like, for instance, I remember our mayor 25 years ago when we had a conversation, he's telling me about traffic accidents, and defense lawyers go out and they rip those things right out of the car before you can get them. So there's always somebody working against enforcing the law or making it better. But we have a good community here, and we work together, and the citizens respect and appreciate law enforcement. So I come here just to keep up with what goes on, and a lot of times it's very frustrating because we do our best and that's just not enough. It's never enough, but people appreciate law enforcement. I just want everyone who's new up here to know that, and this meeting gets a little better. Sometimes we have the district attorney here and there's more things to discuss. So it's a good group, and I love this session. I just wish more citizens would come and participate. But thank you, welcome, and we keep at it.
All right, thank you. Okay, commissioner comments. Okay. I'll just add, I was a witness at an accident involving one of those mini bikes about a year ago. We were stopped at a stoplight, and a guy on the mini bike came across the street, hopped the median curb, it was over on 15th, and hit the guy kind of kitty corner behind me. And then tried to pick a fight with the driver. So it's, yeah, definitely problematic. Appreciate that you've got more tools, and if there's anything else we can do, please let us know. So, with that, we will go ahead and adjourn to our next regular meeting, Wednesday, May 14th, 2025 at 10 a.m. If there's no objection, we stand adjourned.